What's going on, you guys? I'm as always Mr. Grimreaper 2 and welcome everybody to my channel. And tonight I'm going to give you guys your next review. We're going to give you guys your next review for Back in Time. This is for the final film in the trilogy. This is for Back to the Future Part 3. Now, this film is once again directed by Bob Zemeckis, produced by Bob Gale and Neil Kitten. The story is by Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale. This brings back Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, Mary Steenburgen joins the cast. Thomas F. Wilson returns as well, and Leah Thompson also returns as well. And we're gonna go through the plot for Part 3 for Back to the Future, and talk about it. Yeah. So let us go through the plot and let's get this over with. So here we go.
Let's do it.
On November 12th, 1955, moments after witnessing his apparent death, Marty McFly learns that Dr. Emmett Brown was transported to 1885. Marty and the 1955 Doc use the information in Doc's 1885 letter to find and repair the DeLorean, so Marty can return to 1985. Doc's letter instructs Marty not to retrieve him. Marty spots and photographs a tombstone with Doc's name, dated 6 days after the letter, and learns Doc was killed by Biff Tannen's great-grandfather, Buford. Marty travels to September 2nd, 1885 to save Doc. He arrives in the middle of a cavalry pursuit of Native Americans. When the DeLorean's fuel line is torn, Marty hides the car in a cave only to be chased by a bear and knocked out. Found by his Irish-born great-great-grandparents, Seamus and Maggie McFly, he spends the night at their farm, then walks to Hill Valley and runs afoul of Buford and his gang. Buford attempts to lynch Marty, but Doc rescues him. Doc agrees to leave 1885 after seeing the photograph, but without gasoline, the DeLorean cannot reach 88 miles per hour. Doc devises a plan to use a steam locomotive to push the DeLorean up to the required speed. While he and Marty explore a rail spur, they spot a runaway horse-drawn wagon. Dawn saves the passenger, Claire Clayton, altering her death from the original timeline, and they quickly fall in love. At the town festival, Buford tries shooting Doc, but Marty thwarts him. Buford insults Marty and challenges him to a showdown in 2 days. In his anger, Marty accepts. Doc warns Marty not to get provoked by name-calling and lets it slip that Marty gets into a car accident in the future. Doc's name in the photograph is erased, but the date and tombstone itself remain. After a failed attempt to convince Clara that he is from the future, Doc is spurred. He goes to the saloon for a binge and drinks a single shot of whiskey, causing him to pass out in the morning. Buford arrives and calls out Marty, who observes the photograph and sees Clint Eastwood, his 1885 alias, appear on the tombstone, so refuses to duel. Doc awakens after drinking the bartender's special wake-up juice and tries fleeing with Marty, but Buford's gang captures Doc, forcing Marty to duel. After fooling Buford into thinking he killed Marty, Marty knocks Buford into a wagon of manure. See? I told you. And Buford is arrested for an earlier robbery. As Clara departs on the train from San Francisco, she overhears a salesman discussing how heartbroken Doc was at the saloon. Clara applies the emergency brake and returns on foot to Hill Valley. She discovers Doc's model of the time machine at his shop, and realizing he was telling her the truth, rides after him. Stealing the locomotive at gunpoint, Doc and Marty begin pushing the DeLorean along the spur line. Clara boards the locomotive while Doc climbs toward the DeLorean. Doc encourages Clara to join him, but she falls, hanging by a dress. Marty passes his hoverboard to Doc so he can save Clara. They coast away from the locomotive as it falls into an unfinished railroad bridge. Marty travels back to 1985 on the now completed bridge. Marty arrives on October 27, 1985, escaping the powerless DeLorean before it is destroyed by an oncoming train. He discovers the timeline has returned to normal and finds Jennifer sleeping on her front porch. He uses the lessons he learned in 1885 to avoid being goaded into a street race with Douglas J. Needles. Play about the return of Flea. Avoiding an automobile accident. Sorry. Remembering that this accident would have sent Marty's life spiraling downward, Jennifer opens a fax message she kept from 2015 and watches as its text regarding Marty's firing disappears. Excuse me. As Marty and Jennifer examine the DeLorean wreckage, a flying steam locomotive equipped with a flux capacitor appears. Manned by Doc, Clara, and their two children, Jules and Vern.
What?
Doc gives Marty a photo of the two of them by the clockworks in 1885. Jennifer asks about the fax, and Doc tells them it means that the future has not yet been written. Doc and his family say goodbye and depart aboard the locomotive, which takes flight before disappearing, thus ending the final film into the Back to the Future films. Yeah.
Yep.
So.
There you go.
All right. So, getting that out of the way. What did you think of Back to the Future Part 3?
Well, I want to say, like I said in the other videos, this is also another good classic in the trilogy. You can't go wrong with classics. And this one now, they're in the Wild West, so this is a different setting. He goes back to the Wild West, and he finds out that Doc is... Well, no spoilers, FYI, if you haven't seen it, but... you want to see his apparent death of... he was transported, so he goes to the Old West, basically, and so things were different in the Old West, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And,
very, very, very different.
Yes, it was. And like I said, I thought the movie was good. It was just great. I can't. There's no other way I can say it. Goes Back to the Future. You can't pass this one. This was, and this is the last one. And I showed the day after, you know, when they say goodbye to each other, you think, what's going to happen next in the next chapter? This shouldn't be a goodbye. It should. I wish it continues.
Yeah, I wish they would have explored. I wish they would have explored the timelines a little bit more.
Yeah.
Of what happened to Doc, of what happened, what exactly what happened with Doc, what exactly what happened with Marty, how they decided to how they would I wonder what the other time jumps would be like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, maybe they would go to medieval times or World War II or something like that.
Yeah.
I wonder what it would be like, but sadly, Robert Zemeckis does not want to make another movie of this, so... Which sucks. Which fucking sucks completely.
Majorly sucks.
But yeah, I think Back to the Future Part 3 is the best one.
Yes.
Because even though it kind of... Even though... I think if and Now I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this. I know we're probably gonna end up getting a lot of hate for this, but I think the ending to Back to the Future Part 3 was a little bit bittersweet. And I'll tell you why I think it's bittersweet. I think because I kind of wish we could have seen what happened. I kind of wish that after Part 3, we could explore more future, more of the future. We could explore more of the past of like what would happen if Jennifer and Marty followed Doc into the past.
Yeah.
Like what kind of hijinks would Marty, or what kind of hijinks would they get to? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
maybe meeting Sherlock Holmes, or maybe hell, even if the fourth movie had been made, maybe something to do with Jack the Ripper or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Involving Jennifer.
What if?
You know what I mean? But sadly, we never got that, and it sucks. It really sucks. It sucks majorly. But I kind of wish though that we could. See what it was like. See what they could come up with next, in the next installment of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead, man. Sorry.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but yeah, I would like that too. I would want to see what, like Rem said, what if they go back and meet Sherlock Holmes and go back to that time, and or something like that, and like you just don't know, and we know that this movie, because the first movie, Back to the Future, was a success. It's spawned 2 more movies.
Mm-hmm.
Well, think about it. What if it kept going? What if I would want to know what Doc and Marty would be up to. What more craziness, or what more could they get into? I would want that. Yeah.
I would love to see what Marty and Doc what else they would do. What other timelines will they jump? You know what I mean? And but I think it's kind of it's kind of bittersweet, but I still love Back to the Future Part 3, and I give it a 10 out of 10.
Damn right.
Back to the Future Part 3 was really good. So was the other 2. I still kind of wish though that they could have been able to make more of these.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Here in a little bit, I'm gonna give you guys my reaction to the Suicide Squad trailer, the Red Band trailer. Okay. Here in a little bit, and by the time these go up, these should be up by tomorrow.
Yes.
Since I'm not doing anything anyway tomorrow, so
there you go.
I'll work on these tomorrow. So stuff.
Cool.
But yeah, let us know in the comments down below what y'all guys thought about Back to the Future, and stuff like that. That's gonna be it for me with Dark 997.
Yep.
We're out of time and stuff like that. I'm Mr. Grimreaper along with Dark 997, and we'll see you all in the afterlife.
There you go.
Peace.